Welcome everybody to episode 1 of the Great Blue Shark. My name is Edward Permalis and I am your guest host today, interviewing your actual host of the podcast, Chris Hopfer. Chris is a partner at Cimarron Consulting and has been part of the business for about 15 years and now has decided to go into podcasting, talking to different owners and big time figures in different blue collar businesses. Chris, good to have you here.
Hey, thanks, Ed.
All right. So what kind of prompted you to start a podcast interviewing different people who are running blue collar businesses?
I've been in the financial services space and the insurance and risk management space for some time. And one of the favorite things that I like to do is I like to learn about people's story. Everybody, that starts a company, runs a company, has had some, or, is in any leadership capacity. They've all got a story. How did they get there? How did this business come to success, to be a success? What kind of challenges have they faced getting there? And it seems like, the more challenges that they faced and persevered through, the better the story. But I'm always intrigued by someone's successes and challenges just to learn a little bit more about them and what they're looking to accomplish.
Awesome. And how would you say that the kind of newer founders over the last 10, 15 years in these type of businesses have changed? Because I think, 15, 20 years ago, before everybody was running a tech business, people actually had to diversify and do other things. And now the only thing that people want to do is run tech businesses. So how are the younger individuals who are actually starting companies that are more like, classic, actually, bringing goods and services businesses?
I think, technology is obviously changing the landscape, and a lot of the companies that we focus on, your construction, your trucking, your trades, your artisan trades, heat and air and stuff like that. I mean, there's still a big element of human interaction. I mean, you've got to have employees that have a certain talent, but you also look at how can we take the technology that is, has progressed so much and utilize it in a fashion to where we may not have to have the expert out there. The technology can be a portion of that expert, just through, driving of dozers and scrapers and stuff like that. And the GPS, I mean, technology's brought us a lot of ways, but we've still got to develop that talent. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I hear and see, when I'm talking to folks is, how they use the technology today and where do they see the use of technology, further down the road.
All right. Awesome. So what kind of individual can people expect to hear from on this podcast?
The folks that we're going to be, wanting, obviously talking to is, the owners of blue collar companies and, whether that's a beer distributorship, whether it's equipment dealership, construction company, trucking company, manufacturer. We're going to talk to the folks that are starting the companies. We're going to talk to companies that have been around a long time and, maybe have a family running that company. And it's primarily going to be built around private companies, still family held, closely held corporations that, they're part of a community. And, what are they doing to give back? And, what things are special for them and what do they want to accomplish and what do they want their legacy to be? Whether that's, handed off to the second, third or fourth generation. Is that to sell it? Is that to, just build it and gift it away? I mean, you're going to see the spectrum out there, in terms of the companies that we're looking at, but most of them, it's going to be your everyday company, the salt of the earth folks out there running and making things and building up their communities.
Awesome. And, so definitely, I mean, community businesses that aren't, going for like full out globalization are definitely becoming, not a lot of businesses are formed now that are just looking at the local scene.
Yeah.
So, with all like the newcomers, do you see, younger entrepreneurs moving into these spaces just focused on their local community, or is everybody from day one thinking about how do we get this statewide, worldwide, galaxy wide?
I think a lot, in the, like I said, in the artisan, in the trucking and the construction. I mean, you can only service so much area and geographic at one point in time. I mean, where you see a lot of the globalization is in technology. I mean, because it's a floppy disk, it's something that you can email out. But if you're getting started, building roads or construction company, I mean, you've got a kind of a local presence, and then as time goes, assuming that you're not, doing some Department of Defense or government contracting, if you're going to do that, you've got to be able to scale, but you're not trying to do that right out of the bag, right out of the gate.
Got it. And do you have any long shot dream guests that might be super busy individuals, but that you would at one point love to have on the show?
I think it's one of those 6 degrees of separation. I think that time will tell. Right now, I want to stick to some folks here, in my state, Oklahoma, and in the surrounding states. But we've also got clients in Virginia that I think it'd be nice to have the owners of some of those companies, and even down in Texas. You just have. When you're on the grounds doing open enrollment with these companies, you see the employees, you see the backbone of what's happening. And what I learned many years ago is everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, most generally. And so the only difference between me and the guy that is running a 100,000 employee company is a phone call. He still has the same concerns that I do, and most of my clients do for the most part. So. It's about telling a story, and I haven't found very many people, unless they're really, really shy, that don't like to talk about themselves and tell their story.
Absolutely. Given how, up close and personal, you worked with a lot of different clients over the years, you must have heard, great stories that have also inspired you to give these people a platform as well on the show. Would you say that you already have a couple of people in mind within like your immediate network that already have a good story that you want to hear, that you want to help them share on the show?
Yeah, I think, even some of the vendor partners that we have that I've met through my time and building this consultant agency and this brokerage is just, I've got the first ones that I want to reach out to is my clients. And then I want to, and just to give them some technology and some sound bites that they can use in their social media, because most of the companies, when I'm looking for the CFO or the owner on LinkedIn, they don't have a big presence out there just because they're out there, just grinding, building roads, doing contracts, winning this, that, and the other. And social media kind of gets overlooked. And I've overlooked it, quite honestly, for years, just from a branding standpoint. And everybody says, well, you need to get a presence. Well, if I'm going to create my presence, I'm going to help some of the other folks that I know are on the same shoes as I am in getting that done. And if we can, interview them, learn a little bit about their story, have it produced and snippets to put out there, I think it's, maybe it helps kickstart them where, the last guy helped kickstart me.
Yeah. What an awesome mission statement right there. And you're absolutely right. I mean, branding and all this kind of digital marketing through content is becoming more and more prevalent across every single industry. And especially if you're in a commodity space that is more based on, loyalty and local values, it's still important to have that level of branding and to let people also know of your brand and know of your brand values through these different sources. So that is a very, very good mission statement right there. So as you see blue collar business being done now versus how it was done a while back, what would you say are some of the trends that the newer generation of entrepreneurs are bringing in that you're a fan of?
I would say just kind of all goes back to the branding and awareness. In the past, the only way that you could, kind of create awareness was take out an ad in a newspaper. And then newspaper kind of took a decline. And now it is, you can put a billboard up on the road, but the fastest way to get in front of a lot of people is, using social media, using some air spots or something like that. And I think that's where technology and branding is probably going to give, we're going to be able to leverage some of that is, if I'm calling one at a time on a phone, I can call, 100 people in a day or, not in a day. I mean, it's certainly call more than that. But if you tell a story and you can get a little snippet and you can send that out either in social media, an email or something like that, a thumbnail, and now I'm talking about technology that's really above my head. Thumbnail is just a little video that comes up on your screen and you're like, yeah, that looks interesting. I think I'll watch it. And then it'll lead you to something longer if you don't want to, but you can tell that story a lot more times, a lot faster is where I think the advantage is, particularly from the younger generation out there that grew up in that era. And I certainly did not grow up in the tech era. But it's going to give us the ability to leverage that and take it faster. So I don't know if I danced around that question, Ed, but I think I tried to answer it as best I could.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And definitely it's, there's a lot of moving parts to it all, and having that type of presence, building that type of presence, and having that one to many evergreen, strategy is just a winner right now. Because as you mentioned, you take out an ad in a newspaper or you take out a billboard, it's going to be there for however long you pay for it versus you do a podcast episode, and it's going to be there forever. Like people can go back, people can find it. It's an evergreen piece of somebody else's story that they're able to tell and then, keep in the library as long as the internet exists, which I don't really see that going away anytime soon. All right. Awesome. So now we know what to expect. We know what to listen to. We know who should listen to the podcast. We know who's going to be on the podcast. Any last thoughts before people begin this journey with you?
Well, I think that, it's going to be a learning experience for us, but it's also going to be a learning experience for them. And we titled the title of the podcast is The Great Blue Shark. And, kind of hemmed off of Shark Tank. I mean, what makes you different? Are you just like everybody else? And I think, we mentioned it right in the beginning, branding is kind of the difference in technology and leveraging social. I certainly, am just beginning down this journey. And I know a lot of the companies that we call on, their presence isn't that big. So if we can help them and like I said, leverage what we know and, give back, learn, and just go back to the basics, learning about what makes things special, what's their mission. And if we can help them, get that knowledge out there, that story out there, that they can post onto social media, it's going to be a win-win for us.
Absolutely. And through that effect, also just inspire the younger generation to start that type of business or join that type of business and, kind of go against the grain a little bit instead of just, trying to go to the Facebooks, Apples, Googles of the world.
Yeah. And if it's you're a little bit scared of it, that's kind of the message that you need to lean in a little bit, face your fears.
Absolutely. All right, Chris. Well, thanks for joining me. And next time you're going to be the one saying thanks for joining me to your first guest. I'm excited to monitor, see, and partake in this project, and looking forward to hearing some great stories from some great people.